Thank you, and that was a long introduction, but it's given you a chance to recover from the wonderful presentation from Agnes, which gives me a bit more of a chance to have your attention, because I realised when I got here that following Agnes was not going to be a great opportunity, because you'd all be thinking about what she said. But what I want to do is say a little bit about the Dementia Friends campaign in the UK as part of the development of dementia-friendly societies. My apologies to the people who were here yesterday. This isn't going to be exactly the same, but it will have some common elements to the session yesterday. Just to get you ready, it means you can sing along at the appropriate moment for the people who were here yesterday. Let me just set this in context of what Alzheimer's Society does. We're very proud of the work we've done over the last 30 or so years. We've got a whole number of services. We've got about 3,000 local services delivered by 10,000 volunteers and staff across England, Wales and Northern Ireland. And very pleased to say that all those services involve review panels led by people with dementia as key contributors to those review panels. So we've got a big programme of engaging at the local level. I'm also very pleased to say that our research work is growing. We're reaching almost £10 million a year that we're spending on research. And through our research network, we involve people with dementia and carers, not just in the evaluation of research programmes, but researchers have to work with people with dementia and carers all the way through the development and implementation of that research programme. That's a requirement of getting research funding from us. And we also have a lot of outreach to the wider community. I suppose the one that has grown so much over the recent years is Talking Point, which you can join in anywhere in the world, which is a chat room for carers and people with dementia. It now has over 30,000 people participating in an online conversation. I was online the other day and there were 500 people online at the same time, talking to each other, helping resolve problems that they have in everyday life by just sharing experiences. And we have volunteer moderators from North America and from the UK to make sure that whatever time you go online, there's somebody there helping support the conversation. So even at 3 o'clock in the morning, when you are desperate and feel alone, you can go online and talk to some other people. So that's all good, but we felt we needed to go further. We felt we needed to get beyond working with people with dementia and family caregivers in isolation to actually changing the society that people live in, because only by changing society will we actually get the inclusion of people with dementia that should be happening across all countries. And we found in a survey we did this year that 53% of people living with dementia felt anxious or depressed. That's over half people living with dementia. Now, there is no reason why that should be the case, and we know that a large part of the reason for that is because people are isolated and remote from their local community. They feel unable to engage with those everyday things that everybody wants to do. They don't feel safe often to go out of their front door because they feel worried that people will reject them when they get confused with money, or when they get lost and not sure where they're going, or when they don't know what to buy in the shop. And therefore, people get trapped in their own homes. And our mission was to change that, to actually change the level of everyday understanding for anyone with dementia, so that when they walked out of their front door, they didn't feel afraid, but they felt that they would be supported. So we started the Dementia Friends programme in 2013 precisely to change the way people think, act, and talk about dementia. It's about increasing people's understanding of dementia and inspiring them to take action. And that taking action is very important. It doesn't need to be big actions, but when you participate in a Dementia Friends awareness session, you go away with a firm commitment to take action. And our commitment was by the end of this year to reach 1 million people by the end of 2015. I'll just tell you very quickly how it works, but sitting in the front row, and I'll ask him to wave, is Mark Wilcox, who we've just appointed to work with us to support all of you. So his job is to be the international officer for Dementia Friends, to help any people in any countries around the world to develop programmes. And they will need adapting and developing that's appropriate for your country. But we're very keen to share our experience with you, and Mark is very happy to talk to you in more detail about how Dementia Friends works. But in summary, it's about a volunteer-led social action movement. It's about engaging in your community in understanding dementia. The way you get involved in the UK is you sign up to become a Dementia Friend champion, and that means you go on a one-day training course that we provide from Alzheimer's Society. And you participate in that training course to learn how to run a 45-minute awareness session. You learn a very simple set of techniques about how to engage with people to participate in their society better alongside people with dementia. And there are three elements, in essence, to that awareness session. One is some basic information about what it is like to have Alzheimer's, what is the disease, what are the characteristics. And the first thing we put across is that Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia are not a natural part of aging. That's one of the first principles that we want to get across. And then we go on in a second session to give people first-hand experience of what it's like to live having dementia. One way we do that is to have an exercise where you ask people to see how many stages are there involved in making a cup of tea, in doing a very simple task. And we know from the research we did in developing this that for someone with dementia, there are often about 30 or more stages to making a cup of tea, which starts with realizing you're thirsty, because often people with dementia may not realize that they're thirsty. And then you work through the difficulties that of everyday tasks can be if people aren't supportive about working out how to make a cup of tea. But most people, when we do the awareness session, think that there are at most 10, 12, 15 stages to making a cup of tea. So that works really well because you can see people's eyes opening when the revelation to them that actually everyday life can become more difficult and we all need to be more supportive. And then, as I say, the third part is about that call to action, that doing something and participating in your community. And I love this example of a very simple task that somebody committed to. So these don't have to be big actions. Some people do commit to big actions. Some people commit to become a volunteer for Alzheimer's Society. Some people commit to taking this program forward by becoming a dementia friend champion themselves. But some of the actions are as simple as this from someone called Clive, who said, "To be patient with my neighbour who is living with dementia, remember to introduce myself to her and remind her that I'm from next door." It's not very difficult to do. It takes a few seconds, but it changes the life of his next door neighbour so she's less isolated and is included. The other development we did last year is introduce a digital version. So the community-based programme, which is now run by over 10,000 Dementia Friends champions, is now supplemented by also a programme that you can complete online, and then you can get sent your Dementia Friends badge and you can make your commitment online rather than doing it in a session in the community. It's not as strong, it's not as rich, but it enables us to reach more people and to extend through third-party organisations. And the way we promoted last year was through, as I said here, a star-studded advertising campaign where we had well-known public figures donating their time. So in this picture you see on the left Amanda Holden from Britain's Got Talent, a very well-known TV show, Chris Martin, the pop singer, in the middle, and on the right, many of you will know Sir Terry Pratchett, who himself was living with dementia, and he is holding up, I don't know if you can read it from there, a sign saying it's possible to live well with dementia and write bestsellers like what I do. And I thought it was a really good expression from someone who was brave and proud to speak out and say what matters is who I am, not my dementia. It's about me, and dementia is just a disease I have. You don't define other people by the disease. You don't walk down the street and say, oh, look, there's someone who's got cancer. Or, oh, look, there's somebody who's had a heart attack. Or, oh, look, there's somebody who's got diabetes. We must get away from defining people by the dementia and letting them define themselves by their own personality. So we did an advertising campaign, and I'll show you the TV advert we did. Now, the important thing about this TV advertisement is although we had all these celebrities involved, like the ones here, although we got Sir Paul McCartney to donate the song that people sing, the star of the TV advertisement is someone called Gina Shaw, who's somebody living with dementia in Liverpool. So all the famous celebrities became supporters to the star of the show, who is Gina. Hopefully this will play.
Hi, I'm Gina, and I've been diagnosed with early stage dementia, and I'd like to sing you a song.
What would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. I'm gonna try
every of us over 65 will get dementia. There's no cure yet. So to become a dementia friend and find little ways you can help people like me, please go to dementiafriends.org.uk now. Thank you.
So what was fantastic was that advertisement got watched by millions of people on the TV. There's a slightly longer version as well, and the version on YouTube, which is a slightly longer version of that, has now been downloaded by over 500,000 people who've downloaded it. And the important thing for us is that it's led to, we can go on to the next slide, the fact that we've already achieved 1 million dementia friends by February of this year. So we're ahead of our target. And being ambitious, we've now committed to a new target of 4 million dementia friends by 2020. And so we're gradually catching up on the people who've led this work and who we copied the idea from, who are the Japanese, who have their own Dementia Friends program, and they've now got over 5 million dementia friends in Japan because they've been running it for 5 or 6 years. We know it can make a difference, and we've seen in the UK already the difference that can be made. And those 1 million people are made up of those friends who I say have become friends through face-to-face, through online activity, but also, interestingly, now through a lot of organisations in their workplace who are now running Dementia Friends as a routine part of the induction for their staff. And we started that last year. For example, Marks & Spencer's, the well-known high street store, did an Dementia Friends sessions for all their staff at the end of last year. So overnight, well, over a couple of weeks actually, 40,000 people become Dementia Friends. A bus company, First Group Bus, did dementia awareness sessions for their 30,000 bus drivers. And we've seen it spreading across organisations, across churches, across other faith groups, companies, across local government, central government. The momentum is now underway. So part of our achievement of the 4 million is that it will happen automatically. It will be part of the induction programme when you become a scout or a Girl Guide, or when you join a church, or when you become employed by a company or by local government. It will be part of everyday activity. We've also been careful to make sure that it extends across hospitals and many other areas. But what we've been careful, and it's very important to remember, that with hospitals and care homes, Dementia Friends is not dementia training. Dementia Friends is a very light touch awareness session. It teaches you 5 simple facts about dementia. And we've had to be quite firm with some, for example, private care homes. There are 20,000 care homes in the UK, many of them small operators. And some of them have claimed that they know what good dementia care is because their staff have become Dementia Friends. And we've said it's certainly not the case. It's a beginning, but you need to build on that. So that's an only point of caution. But across all sectors of society, what's good is we're now getting people to recognise that being a dementia friend is important. From the top of the society, I did a Dementia Friends session for the Cabinet. So I did it with the Prime Minister and the Cabinet. We've done it for top companies. We've done it for local community groups. I did a session for my local over 50s club where I live. And the response is the same. Everybody wants to be part of this because it's changing the world. And the early results, and we did our first evaluation just earlier this year, is that people are saying, as a result of being in the Dementia Friends awareness session, that 61% are more confident about interacting with people with dementia. That's the result we want. We want people to feel it's good to be part of a community where people with dementia are embraced as everyday people like everybody else. But finally, I just want to relate it to the wider context of dementia-friendly communities, because Dementia Friends is about individuals taking individual action. But the other programme we've been developing is Dementia-Friendly Communities. And under the Prime Minister's challenge, our commitment by this year was to have 20 dementia-friendly community programmes up and running. We have now about 150. So it's far faster than we ever expected that people want to become part of a dementia-friendly community programme. We have a national champion group that I co-chair with a TV presenter for the Prime Minister, and this gives you an example of the mix of organisations that are involved in the National Champion Group. The idea is you have one representative from each sector of society. So we have one telecoms company, we have one energy company, we have one high street supermarket, we have one bank, we have one bishop, and they all have a responsibility to then develop a programme of work in their own sector. And we've produced some national charters as a result. So the financial services sector now have a dementia-friendly financial services charter. The retail sector are about to launch a dementia-friendly supermarkets charter. There's a dementia-friendly employers charter, and so on. So it's taking off as a programme. But again, I just want to end with a note of caution, that it's very exciting and very encouraging to see, but we need to make sure that people don't feel they've completed the programme just by agreeing to join it. So when you join the Dementia Friendly Communities programme, and we now have a British standard from BSI, which is part of the ISO programme, to support that, you are part of a programme that says you are working to become dementia friendly. And our view is that everyone is continually working to become dementia friendly, that we haven't got there yet. We will never get there in reality because there will always be more work to be done. But what I'm proud to say is that I think we've made a significant change in the past 2 years, and the clock will never turn back. Once you have people accepting and embracing people with dementia as part of their community, we have made a long-term, unchangeable step difference for people across the UK. Thank you very much.